After 8 years, the plummeting, panicking Prime Minister admitted his carbon tax is punishing Canadians and making life more unaffordable. Liberals just announced their re-election platform, Vote Liberal, and quadruple the carbon tax on home heating oil after the next election. The Liberal minister from Newfoundland admitted this exemption wasn't granted to Canadians across the country because they don't vote Liberal. RUM bottle politics is back. When will the Prime Minister stop with the Band-Aids and cure the problem he caused and axe the carbon tax?
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member asked us to cure the problem. The problem that we're trying to cure is pollution from home heating oil. Mr. Speaker, by making the investments necessary, we can replace home heating oil furnaces with heat pumps. They are cleaner, they create jobs in our communities, and they save thousands of dollars every year for families who live in my community and his. That member has described on this chamber's floor before heat pumps as fairy tale programs. Mr. Speaker, people who live in our communities are going to save $1,000. That's no fairy tale.
Hear, hear.
Député de South Shore St. Margaret's.
Well, heat pumps increase the coal demanded for electricity in Nova Scotia, but NDP Liberals have brought back that rum bottle politics. Vote Liberal, get a free quart of rum, or vote and get a free heat pump. But here's the catch. Liberals promised to quadruple the carbon tax after the next election. Nova Scotians aren't fooled by this bait and switch. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost. When will the Prime Minister stop with his Band-Aid and cure the problem that he caused, which is the carbon tax, and axe it?
Mr. Speaker, with great respect to my honourable colleague, I think he has missed the point of this program entirely. He's concerned that people will pay a higher price after the pause has ended and the price comes back into effect. If people install a heat pump, they won't pay it at all, and that is the point. Mr. Speaker, we are making the investments necessary so people can replace a more polluting system with a less polluting system. And since he's mentioned coal, we're working to eliminate that from the grid in Nova Scotia too, which is going to help people in both of our communities.
The honourable member for Foothills.
It must be in the air because the Prime Minister has announced his re-election campaign. Vote Liberal, in 3 years we're going to quadruple the carbon tax on home heating, gas and groceries. After 8 years, this Prime Minister is in a panic mode because he knows his NDP Liberal government isn't worth the cost. And now we have a Liberal minister from Long Range Mountains, Newfoundland, Labrador, admitting that only Canadians who vote Liberal will get an exemption from the carbon tax. Well, what about the Liberal minister from Edmonton Centre or the Liberal MP from Calgary Skyview? Were these MPs so incompetent and so out of touch they couldn't secure an exemption on the carbon tax for Albertans?
Yeah.
The Honourable Minister.
We know that carbon pricing works. It both reduces emissions and puts more money in the pockets of middle-class families. We made a decision to attack a highly polluting source of fuel, home heating oil, in a different way so we can get rid of it faster. Mr. Speaker, we're doing this by making a record investment in heat pump technology, which is not only going to reduce emissions at a household level, it's going to save families thousands of dollars every year. This is sensible policy. It's good for the environment, it's good for the economy, and it's good for the households, not just in my riding, but right across the country.
Hear, hear.
Then I have Deputy of Foothills.
The carbon tax works only if it's politically expedient. The Prime Minister's carbon tax exemption doesn't help 97% of Canadians who are already struggling to put food on the table and heat their homes. Now we have a Liberal minister from Newfoundland, Labrador, telling Albertans that the only reason you're not getting an exemption is you didn't vote Liberal. Wow. So is the Liberal minister from Edmonton Centre and the Calgary Liberal MP from Skyview not defending Alberta families? Were they not defending their own 81% of their constituents who rely on natural gas to heat their homes will not get a carbon tax exemption? Will these Liberal MPs from Alberta stand in this House, defend their constituents, and admit their Prime Minister is not worth the cost?
Then I have Minister.
Mr. Speaker. Well, I guess that member didn't hear the minister earlier when he said that home heating oil was exempted right across the country. Furthermore, for his constituents in Alberta, they're getting over $1,000 a year in a climate rebate to help fight climate change. But if that member and any other member from Alberta really wants to stand up for Canadians, why don't they stand up to Premier Danielle Smith as they're trying to gut their pensions, Mr. Speaker? On this side of the House, we're going to stand for Canadians right across this country when it comes to their pensions, when it comes to affordability, and it fights to climate change. They're reckless and they're not worth the risk. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Really, I would seek the cooperation of all members, please, to keep your comments so that the Speaker can hear the questions, but also so that the person who would ask the questions can certainly hear the response. The honourable member from Peace River, Prince George, Northern Rockies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After 8 years, this desperate Prime Minister in total freefall finally admitted that his carbon tax is punishing Canadians. The Prime Minister also announced in his re-election platform that to vote Liberal in Yukon means quadrupling the carbon tax on home heating. And this weekend, the Minister from Newfoundland admitted the exemption didn't apply to all Canadians across the country, including all Yukoners. My question is for the Liberal Member of Parliament for Yukon. Will he step up and stand up to this Prime Minister and demand that the carbon tax be permanently removed for all Yukoners?
Yeah, great job. That I have been missed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I've said a number of times, this program and the heat pump program actually applies in every province and territory across this country. But I would also suggest that yes, disproportionately there are more heat pumps and more heating oil in Atlantic Canada. We actually are focused on ensuring we are addressing pressing needs in every part of the country, including providing significant funding for abandoned oil and gas wells in Alberta and British Columbia.